Okay, so the next one had to do with more with the will years, working with the will years. And, one of the things that EFL emphasizes is that they are not intellectuals. 14, 15, 16-year-olds are not intellectuals. They may be opening up. Some of them have strong intellectual capacities, but they need more. They need challenge. They need hands-on involvement in life, and to get just to have life experience, so they have something that later on their intellects can play with. But if you don't have anything that you've experienced, it's just all unrooted. It's just kind of crazy ideas. But if they've actually had an experience of how life works, then they have something solid, and it's also much more motivating to most teenagers. So what we developed is we borrowed a term from the accreditation agency. When they looked at it, it says, "Oh, you have co-curricular activities." So I thought, okay, that's a good term for them. So they're activities that we ask the teenagers to engage in that are not, for the most part, class-oriented. They're outside the class. And we track it. We track it with a series of charts that the teacher is responsible for keeping up with. So one thing we track is service projects. So part of this year being in the online high school, you were responsible for 3 hours a week of service, and you needed to find something you could do. It got pretty challenging when the virus hit, because everybody's service projects had been outside, and all of a sudden it turned inside. But most of them were able to adjust that way. But it gets them out of their own world. It gets them thinking about other people, thinking about who needs what. It also develops some self-confidence that I can fulfill some need and I can now actually help other people. It's so important because teenagers can get real cynical because they are alert enough to notice that the adults are not really doing that great a job. There's a lot of things that aren't working so well, and the adults are responsible. So they can get real cynical about, these guys are a bunch of jerks. But if they've seen from their own experience that they can actually help solve problems, it keeps that positive focus of more of an enthusiastic approach to life about, there are problems, but I can help. I can figure out a way to make things happen. So the service projects are crucial. Second thing was expertise. Teenagers desperately need to feel like they're good at something. The ones that don't have that, they're just at the mercy of all that peer pressure because they have nothing on their own that's worth anything. So they're just simply trying to play the role game with everybody. So you've got to help them develop some area that they feel good about. It really doesn't make any much difference what it is, as long as they're developing a sense of self-confidence. So we assign 5 hours a week of expertise work. So they have to find something that they want to learn, and they have to find somebody who will oversee what they're doing, somebody who has some level of skill in that topic. So it's kind of like a mentor, although it's not necessarily somebody who's telling them what to do all the time. So like this year, one of the girls, she's really excited about a video. And that was mainly her she must have put in a couple hundred hours over the year just because she was passionate about it. And so she didn't even need much motivation. She just went for it. Another girl mainly did piano. One girl did Tai Chi. One did horseback riding. Another did drama. So there was a lot of different areas, but the idea was 5 hours a week is a good amount of time, in a teenager's schedule. So they actually do develop that skill to some degree. So that's the second area of the co-curricular things. Third area has to do with earning money. And this is such an important life skill of learning how to manifest, how to manifest something in a way that it opens up avenues for you. So they have to, there's a certain set amount of money they have to earn each year. But what I found early on is if I just said that, very few kids actually followed up on it. So we have the chart which shows every week, how much you've earned, how much you progressed toward your goal. Are you ahead of the pace to reach your goal? Or are you behind it? So you just needed a lot of support like that, and most kids need it on a weekly level. So, and they also might need help finding jobs, and they might need help in learning how to work, which are two things that also come in there that the teacher can support. The fourth one is exercise. So teenagers can also get pretty lethargic in their energy. So again, 5 hours a week of some form of physical exercise. And again, they can help choose what that is, as long as it's getting some kind of, getting the blood moving and the breath going and stuff. And then the last thing we track is reading, which is more of a traditional thing. But what I found out is that a lot of teenagers don't read. And so we just put this in at 5 hours a week of reading. And again, I give them a fair amount of scope in the choice of reading. But they do need to clear the reading with the teacher. There's certain things I won't give them credit for. There's current thing as it's a whole vampire series that's quite popular. And I don't mind if they read it on their own, but I'm not going to give them credit in the class for it. So,
yeah.
So we track it. So it's just 5 ways of kind of helping them keep their energy up and hopefully their consciousness. But it's not necessarily classroom type stuff.
I just made notes. You said the 5 ways. Could you just reiterate what the 5 points are so I can just have the sort of headings?
Yeah, service, expertise, exercise, money, and reading.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about, those questions you guys asked, I was thinking, well, those are 2 things that I think have been more, what's the word? They weren't obvious when we started the Education for Life. It wasn't obvious about how to work with different levels of consciousness, and it wasn't obvious how to work with teenagers. So I thought those would be 2 of the contributions that I could say that, have been important to me over the years.